that answered that group of questions. Oops, my belt just dropped to the floor. Okay.
You're no longer a belted Earl.
That's right. Okay, Lynn, the next question moves now to yet another continent, to Africa. And the question is, it says, Mr. LaRouche, as you know, representatives from many of the world's nations have been gathered in New York City for the UN General Assembly meetings. And although we have been gathered there, we have had very little opportunity to discuss what really are some of the most vital questions concerning the continued existence of human life on whole regions of this planet. However, we did have the opportunity for a more productive discussion during certain sections of the parallel meetings that were conducted during the Clinton Global Initiative. For many of us in the developing sector, we've come to view those opportunities as supplanting the proceedings of the UN General Assembly. During one workshop, which was admittedly smaller than some of the others, we had the opportunity to discuss the implications of extending your NWAPA proposal into Africa, and we very much appreciated the video presentation that was carried on your website, especially because it has become so rare that any discussion regarding the African continent be one of great steps forward in development. So any taste of optimism is most appreciated. However, as I'm sure you are aware, within just a few months, we may find a situation on the continent of Africa where two of the greatest nations and most significant nations, Nigeria and Sudan, suffer internal destabilizations and war. I understand that your methodology moves from the top down and not from the bottom up. Yet, for those of us with responsibility for our continent, we cannot sit by passively hoping for positive developments from the United States and the rest of the advanced sector while chaos is unleashed here. And therefore, we are desperately trying to find some policy that we can pursue that will avoid unnecessary death and further a further worsening of a situation which is already dire. And I'm wondering if you have any advice for us as we try to lead our nations and our populations in this crisis.
My God, chain reaction. Well, it has to be done from the top, but what you're saying, really, the argument is, which is quite valid in itself as to what the effect is, it's obvious there's nothing that can be done except from the top. Because we're now on the verge of a general breakdown crisis, a general collapse of the entire planet. And this is being orchestrated largely through the, Jacob Rothschild's Inter-Alpha Group, which controls a fairly estimated, 70% of the world's banking, which is largely fake. It's fake banking, but it controls the world. It controlled the world because the only thing that saved the nations in the past was the times when the United States was fighting some of these characters. And when the United States is under the wrong government, the world has not got a cold, it's got fatal pneumonia. And therefore, if you cannot defeat this, you cannot win. That doesn't mean I'm a pessimist. Quite the contrary. I've spent my life, most of my adult life anyway, fighting against this crap. And only by winning the war against this crap can we get anything for any nation. Look what they do. Where's the problem in the Sudan? Where's it come from? London. Entirely London. Both sides in Sudan. You have a section that's controlled, an operation inside Sudan, which is controlled. Two operations, as a matter of fact, inside Sudan, which are controlled by London. The overall operation against the president of Sudan is coming from London, from George Soros, or Soros as he's called otherwise. Same thing. So you cannot win inchwise under an imperial planet. You have to defeat the empire. And there's only one empire on the planet, especially with the United States playing sixth sister. And that's the British Empire. What do you have to know? In 1968, as a result of the killing of Kennedy, the capitulation to a long war in Indochina, the United States lost its power and lost its position in the world, and the British took over. It was the most indecent thing imaginable. On one side, in one door, through George Schultz and company, and Arthur Burns, one door, in walks the cancellation of the Bretton Woods system. At the same time, from the other door, in comes Jacob Rothschild with what takes over the world, the Inter-Alpha system. The Inter-Alpha system that controls 70% of the world's banking, directly and indirectly combined. So what's the problem? The problem is that we are submitting to the British Empire. And if you're not going to attack the British Empire and recognize the enemy, you don't understand the situation. We must be, what we're going to get, the British are not going to win this one. If they destroy us, they're going to be destroyed automatically, immediately, by themselves. We're now looking at a potential dark age of 2 or 3 generations if we don't win. So there's no substitute for winning this war against them. No one has an answer unless we win this war against them. We've come to a breaking point in history in which we must win this war. And I'm standing here today when a lot of my good friends in the U.S. system are allowing themselves to become confused. Why aren't they staying in Washington to ram through Glass-Steagall? You want to win? Put Glass-Steagall through now. And I know how to deliver a victory to you. If you don't do that, you don't want to do that, there's nothing I or anybody else can do for any of you nations. You're all doomed. Because we're looking at the potential right now of a planetary dark age. And if your local economist doesn't agree with that, then fire him. Or send him into some place where he gets mental health care. No, that's the answer. You've got to understand this. We're not talking about how do we Mr. Fix-It. I'm not a Mr. Fix-It. I've been involved in the Mr. Fix-It business, and I was good at it, but it's not a good business to be in. You don't make any permanent victories. You just fix things, and then somebody comes along and wrecks it and makes it even worse. So therefore, what we need now, we have to come to the point the planet can no longer tolerate this system. The system is the British system. The British Empire must be destroyed. Yeah. It's the time for that thing to be shot down. And if you don't do it, you're going to be in hell. The planet's going to be in hell. You have no choice. No acceptable choice but to win. You want to compromise? Don't be a damn fool all your life. We have to beat these guys. And we've come to the point that you have no other choice. Beat them or go to hell. You have no other choice. And that's the only condition, the right condition for war. When you have no choice. Because anything else is hell. And you cannot vote for hell. therefore you fight.